Hi. Okay, welcome everybody. Those of you who are currently members of the Maricopa County Parks Master Naturalist Program. That's a big name. Anyway, from now on, it'll probably just be MNs. So welcome to those of you who are already members, and welcome to those of you who are interested in becoming members. We're looking forward to telling you a little bit about who we are and what we do, and maybe we can entice you to come and join us. Next slide, please. You see it? Did it change?
Yes.
No, I went.
No, you went one too far.
Okay,
There you go.
Here we are. Okay. Luckily, we are any place in Arizona. There was a time when we were restricted to a smaller area, but now we get to go wherever we want as long as it's in Arizona and we get permission. But basically what we do is we assist what are called stakeholder organizations and that who are involved with these areas that you see right here, like natural history, ecosystems, flora, fauna, and the cultural history of Arizona. So we have some people who are really very interested in cultural history of Arizona, but really are not as interested in flora or not as interested in fauna. And we have others who have other interests. So it's a really nice kind of program because it allows you to pursue your own needs with a group of people who are very interested in serving the needs of Arizona. Next slide, please. Okay, there are three specific volunteer areas that we focus upon. One is education, one is stewardship, and the other is community science. And we won't go into that very much now because there'll be plenty of time for questions and answers. So if there's something that you want to know a little bit more about after we do our stories, because we're going to tell you our stories, please feel free to do so. Next slide, please. Okay, so what's the purpose of this session? The purpose of this section is really just to give you a bit of an idea of what Master Naturalist is all about so that you can see if this might be a good match for some of your own interests and what you might like to do. We're also going to provide some insights into real activities by real members. So that's us. So Jess is going to provide some insights. I am, and so is Emily. And then we're going to have Pam not only give insights, but tell you why it's so wonderful to be a master naturalist. We'll have plenty of opportunities for questions and answers, as I said before, specific to questions that you might have or needs that you might have. So we're going to do that. Next slide, please. Okay, we're going to leave that off and we're going to we'll come back to that in just a minute. Have Jess tell you all about her moments. Go for it, Jess.
So spotlight's on me so soon. I thought I had those 3 minutes and 41 seconds to mentally prepare myself. So as a little background about me, my name is Jess. I'm actually a wildlife biologist by trade. And so it seemed like a one-to-one thing for me to jump into the Master Naturalist Guild. I like to call it a guild. Guild sounds fancy because it just made sense. I work in wildlife, so why wouldn't I also just like to help bring that to the community? But it became so much more than that. I really also like education. So education, it fell one-in-one with my interests and like connections, but I made so many more connections, meaningful connections than I expected. And I feel like the Master Naturalist group really embodies nature in a way, and that everything is connected. So where I know Kim, for example, Kim knows other people, Kim interfaces with nature, I interface with nature, and just being able to live through everybody's experiences and finding out what they're doing at large and then being able to get involved with that is just such a great opportunity. And honestly, if I were going to put a plug for the Master Naturalist group, that would be it, is you learn a lot of great things, but what you bring to other people and what they bring to you, honestly, I find to be the most magical part of it. And actually, speaking of Kim, Kim is the whole reason about the opportunity that I had done last summer that I'm going to speak about, which I would have never even heard about had she not brought it to my attention. So let me just share my screen. Okay. So what I had done last summer, unfortunately not this summer due to COVID and the zoonotic potential of COVID giving COVID to bats, was bat misnetting. And so I had never misnetted bats before. I knew what it was. Basically, it's a way of catching bats so that you can get some body characteristics and see where the population is. So through Arizona Game and Fish, they were catching bats so that they could figure out how the population was either increasing or decreasing over time, because having population surveys is super important. And so in that case, I was doing citizen science. Here are some of the bats in question. That bat over there on the left, the California leafnose, is being held by yours truly, the only bat I got to hold, but super exciting. Because I actually ended up paying for my rabies pre-exposure shots so that I could do this, which was even cooler, but I digress. But beyond just getting that baseline data of where the populations are, I feel like the most important part is that it's called the Watchable Wildlife Program. And so what they like to do is they invite people to come watch. And since bats are a pretty frequently maligned animal, it kind of gives people the opportunity to see how important they are and see them in person and see that they're not nearly as scary as people might think. And so this is also an education opportunity where somebody can interface with the public and show them, hey, look how wonderful these creatures are. And that's possible for so many things. I mean, I was just listening to a presentation today about archaeology in the Crater Range down south near Ajo, and I was just like nerding out. And I love things like that. And the Master Naturalist group is a really great way for you to experience this and to give you opportunities to experience it where you might not have otherwise before. And so here are a couple other animals that you would be able to see during one of these nights, not all at the same time, but over the series of several bat misnettings. And then that's me. I feel like this is my last last exhibit of how enthusiastic I am about being a Master Naturalist. And I hope that you guys who are interested will be as interested and as excited as I am about possibly becoming one too. And I think that's it.
Okay, I want to thank you so much, Jess. You could see it's more, Master Naturalist is out there. So not only in times of non-COVID, we are also out there in times of COVID, but maybe a little bit different. Okay, so let's show that other slide, the one that's my presentation. And it's kind of important for you to understand that Jess and I are both kind of bat nerds. We say that in the most positive way. So I want to show you and talk to you about some other kinds of volunteer activities. But if you look at the first one, what you see is a picture of an eagle, not the eagle that I have seen, but I have seen eagles. I've gone on bird trips and I've seen eagles. They're wonderful creatures and I love them a lot, but I love birds, period. So when I first left my money-paying profession, we don't use the R word. When I left that money-making profession, the first thing I did was sign up to be in bird watching groups because I've always wanted to do that. And when I was in the other profession, I didn't have time. There was just no time to do all the things I wanted to do. I've always loved nature. Birds were first. I thought, wow, that's cool. So one of the activities that I do is I go to Audubon groups and I learn more about birds. I go to restricted bird watches, not so much right now, but I look at the webcams that they have, the webinars, and I learned tons. I also, now this is all in the time of COVID now, so I don't go on bird trips, but I do look at them in webinars. Okay, so one of the other things that I do, if you look down there at the typewriter and stuff, is I write. I do a lot of writing. I am your quintessential educator. There is nothing I do that doesn't end up having some sort of an educational purpose. So what's more interesting than having an educational purpose about the many, many opportunities that we have through Master Naturalist? You'll see down there a bat. That bat represents a presentation that I did to a garden club of all places, but I talked about bat pollination. So it was a way for me to extend information that I knew about to other people who might not know about it and who might not necessarily be in Master Naturalist. Now you see that habla español. Anybody in this group? Well, one of my passions also in terms of being an educator is to make sure that the people around me have an opportunity to learn what I learn. Okay, so I take materials from other organizations. Oh, a cat. I take a gato. There's a gato. Okay, I take information from other for other people, particularly that in Spanish. I translate for people. I'm not a fluent or proficient speaker of Spanish, but I can read and write it very well. So I have been able to take information I've learned from Master Naturalists, my connection. I could say I'm a Master Naturalist, and they will let me translate materials for them. So I've done that for several organizations. And I'm not sure if there's anything else that you would want to know about. There's probably a lot you would not want to know about me. But in any event, you can see, even in the times of a pandemic, we Master Naturalists can spread the word. And without this, the program of Master Naturalist, I might not have had this opportunity. So you ask, how did I get into this? From birds, right? I got into that because I was on a bird trip. And there was this woman also, I don't know her name. Maybe she's here tonight, I don't know. But anyway, I don't know her name, but she was talking about Master Naturalist. And immediately my ears went up and I said, what's Master Naturalist? And she started telling me about it. And I said, oh, what's your name? And please give me the address. And that's how I found out about Master Naturalist. And I've been very happy with all the people I've met, the places I've been, and the activities I've done. Pandemic does not get in the way at all. At least it didn't for me. All right, and I'm done with my part, and our next presenter will be Emily.
Hey, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Good. I never know. I have to constantly mute myself because my family is so loud. I have 3 boys. So I joined the Master Naturalists to learn specifically about the Sonoran Desert. I moved here from Indiana about 3 years ago. I got my environmental science degree in Indiana. I did, wetland delineations, and I spent many summers happily, or I guess springs, happily searching for vernal pools to tiny little microcrustaceans. And I had all the wildflowers I loved the most every year. And when I moved to the desert, it's beautiful, but it is completely different, and I knew nothing about it. I wanted to learn more, and I wasn't sure how to do that. And then I, just came upon this program searching the internet, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And it also really has helped me to meet a lot of people who have interests that are similar to my own. I knew a bunch of people in Indiana that were into nature, but I didn't really know very many people here in Arizona. So now I have hiking buddies when we can hike again, which who knows when that will be. But so I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of the class, and also maybe a future volunteer opportunity for me. I'll talk a little bit about our capstone. So when you take the Master Naturalist class, you have, a 3-hour lecture on a specific topic. Sometimes it's geology, sometimes it's the fauna and flora. And obviously there's no way you can cover everything in 3 hours. And so at the end of each session, you're left with all kinds of questions about the desert, things you didn't know about. I'm learning about like clonal reproduction and choyas, and I'm like, I need to learn more about this, right? And so we're constantly reflecting, and we have questions, and we're learning new things. And at the end of the semester, semester would be the end of the course, you're given the opportunity to delve deeper into something you're interested in and to create some kind of capstone content. The idea is that you're synthesizing things and you're building a deeper understanding of something that you previously learned about. So there are a number of ways you can do your capstone. Some people write essays or narrative research type papers. You can produce a trifold or some kind of educational literature that you would put in a nature center, anything you want to do. So what I did, and this is something that I hoped would be ultimately something I could volunteer with. I was hoping I could perhaps do this with children. I created a board game because I love to play board games. And also I, of course, being new to the desert, was completely attracted to the saguaros, right? The saguaro, it's this icon of the desert. And there's so many, you know, it's this keystone species and there are all these interactions. And I just wanted to learn about every single interaction, you know, what happens to the seeds, who takes them, how do they grow, you know, what is happening with this. So I'm going to share my screen a little bit here, maybe. Hold on here. And show you my board game. Okay, can you see it? Saguaro,
Yep.
Saguaro survival. So, and I will say that I played this game several times with my kids, and it definitely, I need to play it more and revise some things to make it more playable, because I was really trying to emphasize how difficult it is for a saguaro to get from seed to adult. And I made it so hard, that it's almost impossible to get. But basically you have a series of cards, and there are seed cards, seedlings. You eventually become an adult and you bloom, you're a blooming saguaro. And at every stage you draw a card to see what happens to you. So in the seedling cards, you could be eaten by various different animals, pack rats, jackrabbits, mule deer, bighorn sheep. You could be established under the canopy of a Palo Verde tree. That would be something that would be great. You could be established under a creosote bush. That would be really great because you have a nurse plant. Cattle grazing could decrease cover. You could be exposed and vulnerable when you're a seedling. So all these things, at every stage, you choose a card and you basically, you're just trying to get to the very end, and then you're trying to be pollinated. And there are all kinds of different species cards you can grab that pollinate you. So anyway, it's really fun. And it's my goal to actually turn it into a real game and to be able to play it with kids as part of an educational outreach. And that's something that hopefully will happen sometime when COVID is over and we can have little fun groups of kids around again. But in the meantime, I do have 3 boys of my own, so we can keep playing it and slowly refine it. So that is what I have. I've had a great time doing this Master Naturalist thing, so I highly recommend it.
Emily, thank you so much. I loved your board game. It was one of my favorite projects that anybody did. And I sent it around my neighborhood, got a lot of pluses for that.
Oh,
So
good. I'm
job.
glad.
Good job. It was great. Okay, and now we are going to have Pam, who's going to inspire us as only Pam can. Go for it, Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam McMillie, and I just want to ask a couple questions real quick of Donna, Amy, and Shayna. What made you want to spend a half an hour with us here on a Thursday night? Donna, can you go first and just say why?
I actually saw something about this. I think it was on the South Mountain, the Educational Center,
Okay.
about the program, but it was after you all had finished taking applications. And like Emily, I'm from Kentucky, so not too far. Same thing. I moved out here 5 years ago, and it was all so new. And that I think that combination of wanting to know more and also wanting to connect people to nature, because with what I do for a living, I'm very mindful of what that connection can do for folks. And darn it, I'm really curious about the citizen scientist stuff. I think when I filled out my application, I checked like, I'm going to check everything because I have no clue. But yeah, I think, so anyway, that's kind of what it was. And that process of kind of taking that excitement and getting out and doing something and serving my new community. And yeah.
So. Nice. Thank you for sharing. Amy?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I found out about the Master Naturalist program through Kim Andrews. I'm a master gardener, and through my work, I work for the City of Surprise Water Department, and we host the West Valley Master Gardeners monthly meeting. at one of our facilities. So I've known Kim Andrews for like a little over a year now. And when she started telling me about the Master Naturalist program, I realized that that volunteer program more closely aligns with my actual passions in life than even the Master Gardener program. So I have a degree in environmental biology, and so that's kind of what led me into a water resources career. But I try to really stay connected with nature. I hike a lot because that's kind of my happy place, and it's how I sort of disconnect from the anxieties of my day to day. And I just think it would be such a cool opportunity to continue growing my knowledge of ecology and biology, but then also sharing that with people in the community and just getting outside more as well.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Shayna?
Hey everybody. Yeah, I also moved here last year for grad school. I'm in journalism school and I'm finishing in the next month actually, but my previous life, I was a scientist. I got my PhD in biology 8 years ago at the American Museum of Natural History. So I love naturalist things already. I've loved it my whole life. I worked in academia for 10 years and I taught biology. I have an undergrad degree in geosciences. So it's just like my life passion. I also am a science journalist. So I just thought it'd be a great way to meet people, because I don't know any other sciencey people in Arizona. I used to only hang out with people who liked science and nature, and now I don't know like any since I've been here, because I've been hanging out with journalists. So now I thought this would be great. And I love teaching like at the university level, at the high school level, in my past life. So just like, and I also used to give tours at my college. So I just like want to show people things all the time. So I thought this would be a good activity. Just like meet some new people. You guys seem great. So
Thank you.
Well, likewise, and I think all three of you would make wonderful additions to our programs. So let me just tell you a little bit about, and then Amy, I want to come back to you because we need to talk to somebody about hydrology, and maybe you can give us some hints.
Pam,
yeah.
I'll let you know she already is helping us.
Okay, good.
Yay.
The thing that I wanted to share with you is that I have been involved in Master Naturalist programs since the fall of 2007. And at that time, I was living in Virginia, in Fairfax, Virginia, just outside of DC. And I took the Fairfax Master Naturalist first cohort training class. After that, I became heavily involved with stream monitoring, herpetological counts. Matter of fact, I've got 5 county records for one of the counties in Virginia. I was a bluebird trail monitor for a long time. I worked as a county coordinator for that. So I've done everything there. And then we moved to Texas. Somebody got a job, and so we had to move to Texas. And when we moved to Texas, of course, first thing I do is apply. Literally, while we were still living in the visiting officers' quarters, I was typing the application to take the course for the Alamo Area Master Naturalist. And that was actually the first Master Naturalist program in the entire country. They are the template for everybody else. And in that, I became very much involved in something that I had done also in Virginia, which is habitat restoration, and worked along the Medina River installing native plant gardens. We put in a handicapped accessible trail to make certain that people could move along the path easily, and created signage for that. I've also murdered approximately 1,000 Chinaberry trees, all with my own Sawzall. So the only bad thing about invasive species is they don't scream when you kill them. But everybody's got to have that outlet. And then when I came to Arizona, I saw that there was a cohort forming in South Mountain, and 6 months ahead of schedule, filled out the application. got in, met some of these crazy people who are with us tonight, and took the training course. We call ourselves the COVID cohort because halfway through we went completely to an online training. And that, of course, is something that we're going to have to continue with, except for our field experiences where we can divide our groups up into 10 and go out and actually do stuff. So I have enjoyed being part of 3 state Master Naturalist programs. I have met people that I will be lifelong friends with. I'm actually having a Zoom with my Fairfax friends on Sunday, just so we can keep together. And that's the kind of thing that happens, because when you become a Master Naturalist, you come into a group that appreciates connection, whether it be that connection to people or nature, or in our case, all of it, you know, because we are a community and we are all connected. You know, Donna, as I listened to you, I was thinking, wow, we had a nature walk garden at a nursing home in Orange County, Virginia, where we put in butterfly plants and were able to walk with the residents through and count the chrysalis that were forming on some of the plants. Amy, we've got in common our love of water resources. I'm still looking for someone to define for me exactly where our recharge zones are. So maybe you can help me with that. And then Shana, you were at National Institute of Science. Is that what you said?
The American Museum of Natural History in New York.
Natural history.
Yeah.
God, that was my favorite place on the planet when we lived in DC.
Yeah.
You know, that big elephant when you walk in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It is an amazing place, and just the different displays. I was able to be part of a teacher exchange once with the Science Museum, and working with their early peoples exhibits and how to bring that into the classroom. So we all have these wonderful, energetic reasons for wanting to be part of this amazing community of people. And I am so grateful that you spent part of your Thursday with us to learn about us and to maybe get started in giving back here in the Phoenix area. My role as this evening, and in addition to being a cheerleader, wanted to let you know that one of my jobs, in addition to the curriculum, is to seek out and find volunteer opportunities and partner agreements for our chapter. And I can tell you right now, our Maricopa County Parks chapter of the Master Naturalist has a ton of things that they have set aside for us to do, from seed collection to growing plants to actual taking out of the invasive plants and restoring various portions of our biotic communities. So I'll shut up now because I'm starting to babble and I'm starting to get that look from Kathleen. So it's time for me to end. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Pam. That was really nice. If you ever think for 1 minute anyone can stop Pam from talking, I'll have to have a conversation with you. Anyway, I also want to introduce a couple people that I'm very happy to see showed up. And one of them is Kim Andrews. She's been a wonderful, wonderful supporter of the Master Naturalist program. She's helped a bunch of us with some things that we find a little more challenging. So thank you so much, Kim. And then we have Tasha, who's looking bored, but she's anything but boring. Tasha gives us all kinds of interesting stuff. She sends out our notifications. She makes sure that people are aware of invitations. She makes sure that people are aware of some of our activities. So what I want to do, and I would talk about Emily because she wasn't supposed to be doing anything until about what was it? Was it yesterday? Yesterday, then she got to do something, but she already talked about herself. But let me be introducing you to, or inviting you to our next chapter meeting. Our next chapter meeting is December, well, I'm thinking way too far in advance, November 18th, and it starts at 6 o'clock. And get this, you guys are going to be the first ones to know that, except for Tasha, you're going to be the first ones to know the title of our presentation, because the first hour of our meeting is it's advanced training. We train each other for whatever it is that happens to be the topic of that week or month. And this topic is called, get ready, healers, rattles, and venoms. Oh my. What could it be? I don't know, but I bet you will if you show up, and I hope you do, on the 18th. So if we could have the next slide, please. That would be you, Emily. It's just Emily was saying, oh no. The very last slide.
That's it.
Can we, yeah, make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, so what this is a truly watered down, really watered down process for you to follow. But if you would write down that website, the website should give you much more information or lead you to a link that will give you more information, because there's a lot to digest when you're trying to figure out how to get into the program. It's pretty straightforward once you figure out what to do, but you need to read a little bit about it and get a little more information than just what we have to tell you. So go to the section that says, open the section, join us. Just review the information. We may add you may want to wait a day or two. We may add a little bit more information on there, give you another link to go to that's a little more detailed. There's a form that you will complete. It's a $20 application fee, and you need to submit it by December 1st, midnight. As far as I know, this is stable, but things can change. So definitely make sure you look at the website. And then notification of your acceptance would be December 31st, 2020. So this is just the general bottom line, bare bones process that you need to follow. So at this point, we are basically concluding what we have to say to you tonight, but would love to make sure that we have your contact information. So if you dare to give us your contact information, please do so. How will you do so? How will they do so? How can you give us your contact? However you got in here, you must have gotten an email. So send it to that email, probably from Tasha. Probably send it to Tasha. And what else should we say? Oh, the other thing we should say, would you like to ask us some questions? Because we're more than willing to talk. Anything you might want clarification about, or do you feel just a little bit too new, or what would you want to do? I mean, I'm not asking you individually. I'm just saying, what would you want to do if you got to be into this program? Is there anything special?
Kathleen, we did
Yes.
not hear from Rachel and Beatrice when we went
Okay.
around the room and talked. So
Are they on here?
they are.
I don't see them.
I see their names.
Hi,
Rachel just
I'm-
unmuted, so maybe she could talk.
Yes, this is Rachel. Hello.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm just on the phone right now. My children are nearby, and I'm not able to do video right now.
Oh.
So I'm Rachel, and I already sent in my application. I just wanted to check in and see if there was anything that I had missed. I have 4 little kids, and we homeschool, and we're in Scouts, and we do a lot of hiking and nature study with different homeschool and scouting groups. So I was interested in taking it to a deeper level and helping connect the kids in the different groups with more conservation projects, citizen science, and just deeper information than just more merely hiking. So that's my interest area. And I really appreciate all that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm sorry, I didn't open up the participant thing, so I didn't see those of you who are not showing your faces. But now I see Beatrice. Beatrice,
Yes.
it's yours.
Hi there. Good evening, everybody. And sorry I wasn't able to join right away at 7. My background is I have been a volunteer with the McDowell Sonoran Conservancy, and I've been a resident here in North Scottsdale for about 30 years and just love our beautiful state and have hiked throughout it. And I too want to deepen my understanding, and I've been contributing more in terms of community events with the Conservancy. But I think learning more on a scientific level will enhance the contributions I'm able to make. And you seem like a great group of people who have a wide range of experience. So it takes a village, right? None of us on our own can make a difference, but together we can really make an impact. So anyway, I too have put in my application, and this was an information meeting for me to
Wonderful.
learn more about you.
Great. Now I opened up the participants. I think everybody is now accounted for. Okay, good. Okay, so let me again encourage you to come to our chapter meeting. The first hour is from, all right, I'm going to get mine in a minute if you're going to do that. Okay. The first hour is information in terms of growing your knowledge and your awareness. And as you heard, I hope, again, that we will be having something about, who remembers the title? Oh, guys.
Gila's venom and poison.
Rattles and
Oh my.
anyway, it's an oh my. Please bring a friend. Invite a friend. Invite your kids. They can come. The first hour is really kind of a wonderful thing. We're having a speaker coming in from, I believe it's North Carolina. So he'll be coming to talk to us. The second hour is a business meeting. So if you want to see what you're getting into, you then stay for the second hour. You're certainly more than welcome. So if anyone, last chance for making yourself a star and being on the screen and talking. Anybody want to do it?
Just one question. Could one of you speak a little bit about the volunteer hours, the 60 hours that are required, and especially in this COVID environment, are we allowed to go out on our own to do some of the work for invasive species, et cetera, and just time? Okay.
Okay, let's.
Can't hear you, Pam.
I think Pam is going to do this right after me because I could never stop Pam. And besides, Pam is on mute, so we can't hear you. So I'm not sure when you came in, Beatrice, but there are a lot of opportunities for things that you can do without literally going out in the field. So
Okay.
if you want to contact me, and I'll give you my email address or phone number. If you want to contact me, I can address those kinds of things.
Okay.
But now we're going to let Pam loose, and she unmute yourself, Pam, and she's going to talk to you about the other volunteer opportunities that are outside.
Yeah, right. But like nobody can stop you from talking either. So, all right. Here's the thing. We have a sponsor right now who is going to be utilizing our talents on removal of invasive species, collection of native seed, propagation of native plants, and then planting native plant gardens. So there will be plenty of time for you to get volunteer hours. This past year, as part of cohort 2, our hours were reduced from 60 to 30. I don't know how that's going to play out next year, but I know that normally it would be 60 hours of volunteer time, 20 hours of advanced training. So, who knows what's going to happen to us as spring comes around, but just know that as a matter of fact, as part of your field labs, I don't know if you heard my discussion about that, but we'll have 6 field labs in the morning on Saturdays, in the afternoon on at least 2 of those, we will have work sessions so people can go out and get their hands dirty, working a little bit in the parks before they go home.
And I would like to add that there are a lot of citizen science things that you can do with your family or on your own, and add those. And that also we have anything that you're doing for the chapter. Like I've been doing book reviews and that kind of stuff counts too. I'm on some committees where I'm helping and all those kinds of things.
Okay, so
Chapter so that
there's no lack of opportunities.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, Shayna, what's up?
How many members do you have total? I might have missed that.
For
Good
this,
question.
we have 2 cohorts right now. We are the second cohort. You would be the third.
Okay.
I can't give you the exact number, but I bet you Kim can.
I think it's 37.
Small, okay.
Yeah.
For a city the size of Phoenix. Yeah.
Well,
It's only our second year. and
Oh,
we're
is
not
that
well
right?
known
Okay.
yet. So we will want you to promote us too to your friends.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, I think each cohort has started up 20-ish.
20.
Yeah, 20 is how many people we would take at a time. So it will keep growing throughout the years.
Got it.
Well, and it was actually, we're only 1.5 cohorts, as Pam alluded to before, because we are the COVID cohort and it was tough. But you know what? This group all pulled together. It was amazing. From almost going under, literally going under, we lost a sponsor, all kinds of things happened to us that you could never believe would happen. And yet we survived and we are probably better than we would have been than before. So
We're the saguaro seedlings that would have made it.
yeah,
Yes.
we would have made it. Very nice, Jess. Okay, anything else? Okay, please come to the meeting. Thank those of you who are already registered or signing up anyway. And if you haven't, you know where to find it, more information, and do you know how to contact us if you need to?
Through your
Okay.
website, I assume you have a contact us button?
Yes, that one comes to me. I answer
Okay.
those emails. So yes.
All right, then, as much as I hate to say it, we're 15 minutes over. Come on, you guys.
Ooh,
Thank
All
God
right.
we didn't have our
Thank you,
president.
guys.
Thank you.
okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good life. Adios.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Kathleen.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.